Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the last day of February. What a quick month it was. And tomorrow we launch into March. And a lot happened since last Wednesday when we talked about Roman, whether or not he received assistance on his rower monitor during 23.1. Since then, we had a live announcement and throwdown of 23.2 in which Roman took the win over Pat Vellner in 23.2, both the burpee pull up and shuttle run combination and the one rep max thruster. A lot happened since then, and let's get right to it. So, 23.2 review. I predicted Roman would take the win over Pat, and I was right about that. I was also correct in predicting that 23.2 would have two parts to it, and we do have two scores posted for that particular workout. A lot of controversy about the thruster. Um, One question that I had, and I thought was the correct points of performance or proper definition of the thruster movement is that if I remember James Hobart's video about the workout, he says, and I quote, that the thruster is executed in one fluid movement or one fluid motion. So to me, that means the athletes cleans the thruster from the ground, receives it in a squat, and then presses the barbell overhead in one single fluid motion. However, it appears that CrossFit is accepting athletes cleaning the bar from the ground, pausing in the front rack before dropping down into the squat and then coming back up and thrusting the barbell overhead. If that's the case, then what James Hobart says about one fluid motion is not correct. So, which is correct? And this is my frustration with CrossFit regarding its movement standards. In the judges course, we understand that the thruster is performed by the athlete cleaning the barbell from the ground, receiving it in a squat, and then pressing it up directly overhead in a single movement. Yet, in this particular workout, CrossFit is accepting basically a segmented performance of the movement. So either change the definition of the thruster and change how it is described in the online judges course, or stick to the purest definition, which is one fluid motion of the movement. So, uh, to me, when it comes to whether or not there's a controversy about the movement, I don't see a controversy. I was raised in knowing, or I was taught, that the thruster is exactly what it is, as described in both the level one training workbook, what was taught in classes, and for that matter, the benchmark Fran. If you allow segmented division or performance of the thruster, then it changes the dynamic of Fran, or it changes the stimulus of Fran. To me, that's the direction where we're heading with this thruster. So, is there a controversy? There is no controversy in terms of definition of the movement. There's controversy in how CrossFit is defining the movement. Okay. Talking about the leaderboard in 23.2, of course, with video submissions pending validation from CrossFit, your top three on the ladies' side for RX worldwide, Mal O'Brien leads with the top spot, followed by Paige Powers and Emma Lawson. coincidentally or not coincidentally, all three are the young and rising stars. In Mal's case, her star has already risen, or it's reaching its peak. Uh, but all three are the young or the new faces of the sport. And then on the men's side, we have Jeff Adler, Tolar Morikino, and Colton Mertens taking the top three spots. Uh, my favorite athlete on the female side, Ariel Lowen. She's doing quite well for the worldwide leaderboard. She is currently sitting in fifth place. So in 23.2A, she sits 79th in the world at 164 reps. And in 23.2B, she sits 136th in the world with a thruster attempt, a successful attempt at 203 pounds. Looking at some other notable names on the female side, Ellie Turner is sitting eighth. Amanda Barnhart sitting 10th. Brooke Wills, just 1 point behind her, um, sitting in 11th. And then Sydney Mikulishin sitting in 17th. Andrea Nisler sitting 19th. Emma McQuaid 21st. Danielle Brandon 27th. And as these submissions get validated and scores posted, certain athletes are, or all the positions are changing position on the on the on the worldwide leaderboard. Emma Carey, your worldwide leader after 23.1, now sits in 42nd in the world, still good enough to qualify for the next stage of the games. On the men's side, we are looking at the following. I think so. Tyler Christoffel sits in fourth, and Ricky Garrard sits in eighth. Samuel Kwonwaye sits in ninth. Dallin Pepper 10th. Nick Matthew, who, as you know, in last year's games, rocked the crossover double under in his crop top look. He sits in 11th. And let's see here. Roman Krennikov is pushed down to 18th after 23.2. All right, so my personal experience with 23.2, the shuttle runs and burpee pull-ups went relatively well for me. I got through 115 reps on part A, getting through the round of 25 burpee pull-ups. Almost made uh, one shuttle run. I was like 3/4 or 1/4 of a length away from completing one rep of the shuttle runs when time expired. 23.2B did not go so well. I in my I attempted 135, 145, and 150, and my my attempt at 145 and 150 were invalid because I did not achieve full lockout at the top. Also, in going for 145 or 150, the barbell kicked my left wrist all the way back, and I sustained a strain. So right now it hurts to press either up or downward or to exert any kind of pressure on the wrist. Also hurts to grip. So I'm kind of leery as to what 23.3 has in store for us, because if it involves gripping anything of any type or pressing, 23.3 is going to be um, a source of concern. So, enough about 23.2. Let's talk about predictions for 23.3. I'm looking at a time domain of less than 12 minutes. We had the first two workouts, one at moderate length of 14 minutes, and then one of long duration at 20 minutes. So I'm thinking this last workout is going to be a sprint pace like workout. Like I said, the time cap being, or time domain being, at or near 12 minutes. I also anticipate that we will see double unders, a dumbbell movement, and either a gymnastics or, yeah, probably a gymnastics movement. Interestingly, all or both of the workouts that we've had so far cover all three domains: monostructural with rowing in 23.1 and running in 23.2. We've had gymnastics with ring muscle ups in 23.1, and then pull ups in 23.2, and then strength with power cleans in point 1 and thrusters in point 2. So I will not be surprised if we see 23.3 covering all three domains again. The live announcement for 23.3 features Mal O'Brien against Daniel Brandon at in Omaha, Nebraska. Danielle Brandon, she's great for the sport. She has a great personality. She livens it up, and she's definitely a crowd favorite, a fan favorite at competitions. But here's my take on Danielle Brandon. She may end up being the greatest CrossFit athlete never to podium at the games. I think with Laura Horvat, Mal O'Brien, Emma Carey, Paige Powers, Emma Lawson, and some of your other uh, female stars in the sport, Danielle might have a tough time finding herself on the podium at the games. She might have better luck at podium finishes in some of the off-season events, such as Rogue Invitational or Wadapalooza, where coincidentally she did not compete at Wadapalooza this year. But bottom line, Danielle Brandon, greatest athlete not to podium at the CrossFit Games. And then last but not least, there's controversy in the adaptive athlete division. Two athletes, Emily Cairns and Ricky Roush, have filed appeals basically with CrossFit about the ruling that they are ineligible to compete as adaptive athletes uh, this season. So, the Barbell Spin put out a post uh, just yesterday that says, after being deemed ineligible to compete in the upper extremity division this year, both Richie and Emily are appealing CrossFit's ruling and asking for clarification. It goes on to say, Cairns has been eligible for the upper extremity division the last 2 years. Her statement, my physio works with Paralympians and he couldn't believe I wasn't considered adaptive by CrossFit. How was I not eligible? She immediately reached out to CrossFit leadership for clarification. Looking back on how this situation developed, she says, I got pushed up the chain and no one ever answered my main question. Did I apply under the wrong criteria? I felt ignored and a bit belittled. It just kept repeating that I didn't meet the minimum impairment criteria. Karen shared that CrossFit informed her they did not watch her workout portion of the eligibility process due to her range of movement not meeting the minimum impairment criteria. So, I don't know enough about her particular situation. I do know that CrossFit claims that it is a sport uh, accessible and open to all. And just on the surface, based on Emily Cairns' statement here, it does not appear that way. Second of all, CrossFit is going against a medical provider in saying that she is not considered impaired, and therefore she is not considered adaptive by CrossFit. I think what the disconcerting thing is, again, on the surface, and based on her statement, is how she's being received and regarded by CrossFit. She says, I got pushed up the chain and no one ever answered my main question. Did I apply under the wrong criteria? I felt ignored and a bit belittled. They just kept repeating that I didn't meet the minimum impairment criteria. She goes on to say that CrossFit didn't bother watching her workout submission because they simply felt that she did not meet their minimum criteria. So, CrossFit has got some work to do, it sounds like. And not only do they need to firmly establish whatever criteria they may have in categorizing someone as adaptive or not, it also seems like they need to work on their athlete relations. So we'll see how this situation continues to develop. But CrossFit, I think, needs to be a little cautious in making the bold statement that it is accessible for all. Because when you read stories like this, that particular claim does not seem to ring true. So that's my top three, I guess. So we talked about 23.2, 23.3, and then the adaptive athlete controversy involving these two athletes being deemed ineligible to compete as adaptive athletes by CrossFit HQ. Hope you have a good day. Uh, it's the last day of February, so make it count, and let's look forward to March. Have a great day.